about time to get started. I'm Richard Smith with Calibre Home Inspections, engineer-directed home inspection company of 25 years plus. We have been inspecting homes and protecting dreams. So welcome, everyone. If anybody has any questions, we are here to help. So we're going to take this time and open it up to anybody out there that has questions. So, since we have a really small crowd, thanks Alexis for being here. And I have an inspection of a home that we could do. It's actually not an inspection. The reason we got started with this question and answer is because the inspectors' hearts break, including my own, for all the houses that we see, and they have small defects or larger defects, but they started out small, and our hearts just break when we see these small things that, if left unattended, they become very costly items. And we are pretty, let's just say, type A in correcting issues in our own homes. Usually it's the issues that really cause big dollar items or safety issues. Yes, my house is messy, and yes, when I drive around my house on my lawnmower, I look back at my house and say, oh man, I write that up. So we have a new maintenance tune-up for a house for anybody that would be interested. Basically directed to maybe some techie people that don't stay on top of the maintenance of their home like you would the maintenance of your car. You might be more diligent maintaining your car because you don't want to be stuck anywhere. But if you don't maintain your house, it could lend to tens of thousands of dollars quickly. You have to know how it works. And if you know how your house works, then you're naturally going to be able to take care of it easier and more properly. So if you're a techie and you're not focused on your house, then you might need a maintenance inspection. If you are a high-end corporate guy who spends probably too much time at work, and you don't want to do the projects on your house, if you don't get around your house and you don't get to the corners of your attic, you don't know a problem is starting. So houses are made by people, and people are human and they make mistakes, and they don't do things perfectly, even though it looks perfectly. For instance, a roof. Sure, you look at the roof and it looks great. And if there's something wrong, a nail in the wrong place, or a nail not fastened properly, or flashing not in right, you may not see it. It's good to inspect a home 1 year later after a number of rains, and you start seeing the stains. Those stains are an indication that something needs to be done. You shouldn't have stains on a new home. And if you leave it for 5 or 10 years till you move, you'll have a big rotted area or mold getting into your attic and staining your ceiling and all sorts of problems. But it's good to not just call a roofer in that case. You may need a different situation. To use a separate consultant is really a way to go. To have a maintenance tune-up, have someone independent looking at your house. We're very objective. We don't get emotionally attached to the home we're looking at. We've got 25 years plus experience in watching water destroy homes and understand where problems hide. So, uh, if you,
Third question.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So, what is the benefit of hiring an independent contractor versus maybe say like a handyman who, maybe I want to add a room on or add something additional to the house or fix something. What is the benefit to hiring an independent contractor during or even after that process?
Well, a good idea if you're going to add on to a house, a good idea is you could get a consultant for very little money and they can give you ideas on maybe who to hire. If you have someone, that's fine. You can give them some things to look out for, some things that you need to make sure your contractor watches out for. And you can stop the process before they get too involved and then they have to rip out a lot of stuff and then everybody gets upset. The contractor doesn't want to have to rip anything out and the homeowner doesn't want to have to extend the time of the construction either. So um, if you give the owner some things to look out for, some tricks and tips, and um, also also if you need to keep the integrity of the builder clean, uh, we are code certified in all the disciplines, and we could get in there and actually check to make sure if it's done correctly before they cover everything up with drywall. And give you some peace of mind in knowing when to pay your contractor and knowing when not to pay him. So it's always good to have another set of eyes that know what's going on in the construction process. So you have an independent observer who is just going to tell you the way it is. And it's not necessarily saying, "Oh no, it's fine, it's fine." Just hey, I need payment now. I need to pay my guys, and that's what happened to me a number of times. So it's always good to have someone unbiased umpire that kind of knows what should be happening at all the stages. So,
Definitely. So, um, if someone was to prepare for a home maintenance tune-up or that independent contractor to come in and look at their house, what would be the top couple things that you would have them do to prepare? Lock the dogs away. Do we need to pull anything out? Like, what is that? What does that process look like to prepare?
well, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, we run into those type of problems when we are inspecting homes. It's probably just make sure the area that is going to be worked on is accessible and visible and no distractions, as in if you're going to add on to a particular bedroom, then make sure you time it so someone working on night shift isn't sleeping in the room when we're trying to look at the dimensions of what we need to add and so forth. But that, keeping animals at bay, but those are kind of obvious. The owner will be there. It's different on a home inspection
Hmm.
because if a dog or cat are loose in a house and you have an automatic swinging front door that automatically swings open and you close it and you're checking things and you turn around and you got your hands full with a ladder and your door's open a little bit and your cat gets out, been there. um and then you go to the kitchen table and you see the sign that says, "Inspector, don't let the cat out." So yeah, that's a little bit different. The owner would be responsible for their own animals, and but just making sure it's accessible and and understand if the contractor is going to be adding on to a room, you want to make sure the room, it's going to be a big mess anyway when you do this. So if we need to pull up carpet to evaluate the flooring underneath and give suggestions on what to do and how to match what you have, um, then realize that there's going to be a little destruction
Mhm.
happening.
Now, I know with the home maintenance tune-up consultation, there's no report because it's not an inspection.
Right.
So do you send out like a checklist the night before, or maybe, some things, hey, we need like, what is your air filter? Maybe fill this out and send it back. Or do you give them a checklist after? How does that work?
Um, Interesting. We have a really good uh home maintenance tips on our website. You can pull that. We are going to be doing pretty much all those things on that maintenance tune up. So you can do it yourself, except you may not want to get to areas in the attic that are quite difficult to get to. There's a safety aspect of it also, and we're pretty good climbers. Um, but yeah, we will we just go and we look for all the areas that cause problems and water problems and mold problems and safety issues, and we check valves that people don't even know they have, and we want to make sure the safety valves are working and the smoke detectors, of course, and we'll check windows in the house. We're not there to do a whole home inspection, but we will check safety issues like windows in bedrooms, making sure you have at least one workable window in a bedroom that you can escape in the event of a fire. So it is a tune up. And when we find things, yeah, we might put a plate back on a switch or something, but we might do some things that would just save you a nuisance. If we're already up in the depths of the attic and there's some insulation loose, we'll tuck it back in and stuff like that. But we will tell you a list of things. We'll give you a list of things on what would be a good priority to take in fixing up your house and keeping it maintained properly.
Great.
And then we'll emphasize, right? We will emphasize what's really important, and we can give you an idea on what it would cost. And we've got a list of contractors uh, on our website under contractor referral list. And these guys are guys that I've used personally, or someone on our team has used, or we'd hear from a realtor saying, "Oh, I love this guy. Does a great job on this part of the house." We've got about 40 different categories in there, two or three in each category around. We might have one in a particular category, or five or six in another, but we don't have too many. But we've all found that these guys are the guys that do do a good job, and they're reasonable, and they've done a good job for us. So we just say, all right, this will help my clients. So we put them on our
Great.
website. If we hear bad stuff, yeah, we take them off. So that's the only checking we do. We don't do any background check, business license. We're not on Angie's list. It's just my list. So, so if you were to have a maintenance tune up, it's a it's a holistic look about the house. You might say, I'm just so uncomfortable in this room. Well, if you have a Windows guy there, he'll tell you need to swap out the windows. If you have an insulation guy there, he'll tell you need to do something with the insulation. If you have a mold guy there, he'll say, well, it's because you got water coming in and you got mold problems here. No, it's a holistic look at the house, and we can say, yeah, all you need to do is your duct register size is too big or too small, and you just need to reduce that. We know what size your ductwork needs to be going to a particular room. Or we could get a thermal imaging camera out and um, take a look at a wall and say, all right, well, you got good insulation on the ceiling, but this wall doesn't have any insulation. Of course, you're going to be cold in here in the winter and hot in the summer. It happens. People put the houses together. It's amazing what you find sometimes. So most of the time, houses are put together generally good, but it's just those weak links that you get to when you say, wow, I can't believe this was missed. And even in new construction, we'll go through a new construction house, and I usually find when the builder says he's done, I usually find about 10 things, a lot of which are just on a regular punch list. But sometimes it becomes an embarrassment, and I can't believe they missed that. So it's about 1 out of 10 times in a new construction, I get a wow, this is really embarrassing for the builder. And then usually 1 out of 10 times on a resale, I get a really big uh-oh, where it's a real costly issue because something was neglected. So you have there are a number of reasons to use an independent guy to take a look at your house. Consultant, an inspector. Now, it won't be an inspection because we're just going in there trying to troubleshoot, maybe, or give you ideas on how and who to use and knowing when to pay them and when not to pay them. So I do that when I do consulting on for a home inspection also. I will take a lot of time and explain all the problems of siding, for instance. There are probably 3 troubled sidings and other sidings, and knowing that you can't do certain things with certain sidings, and what to look for. I do it for investors. I'll go in and tell them what type of siding causes problems and how to maintain that siding and what to look for and what years and that siding was added. So there are a lot of benefits of using a consultant.
Great.
And really, it is the maintenance tune-up is a proactive look at the house, catching the leaks early before they cause big problems, making sure all the safeties work and keeping your family safe with the pressure valves. And I'll even activate the cutoffs. And after I do that on an older house, I will look carefully, making sure it doesn't leak. So if it's seized up, we'll know it. And if it leaks, we'll know it before they have to, before they run into any problems because of it. So,
Interesting.
So did you have any other questions?
No, I think you've about answered them all.
Well, great. That kind of sums up our maintenance tune-up consulting. And if anybody out there needs that, then they can just call the office and schedule it. And usually easier to schedule because it's the homeowner and they're there, and we would be pretty flexible on these. So well, we are going to look forward to next time, and we'll see everybody next time. And this is the best independent home advocate you could choose. Richard Smith with Calibre Home Inspections. Thanks a lot. Bye.